In a recent revelation, leaked U.S. documents shed light on the current state of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It seems the toll of war is wearing heavily on both sides, as we see Russian ground forces approaching a state of exhaustion. With limited reinforcements available, the strength of the once formidable Russian military appears to be dwindling. Meanwhile, Ukraine's air defenses are being heavily depleted, leaving them increasingly vulnerable to Russian air superiority. This vulnerability is further amplified by Ukraine's reliance on outdated Soviet-era air defenses, a factor that is certainly not in their favor. Despite these challenges, the Ukrainian forces are not backing down. In fact, they are reportedly preparing for an offensive. Russia, on the other hand, seems focused on holding its current territory, using its air superiority to counter Ukrainian attacks, but the losses on both sides have been significant. Russia has lost a large number of tanks in the conflict, while their special forces have also suffered substantial losses. The war has, quite literally, taken a toll on their military might. The Ukrainian forces, while showing resilience, are not without their own losses. Their dependence on Soviet-era air defenses has left them vulnerable, making it difficult to effectively counter the Russian aerial attacks. Unfortunately, the war is not expected to end this year, hinting at more potential losses and hardships for both militaries. The conflict, it seems, is far from over, with both sides preparing for the next phase of this grueling war. These leaks paint a grim picture, with both sides suffering significant losses and the conflict showing no signs of resolution in the near future. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine is not just fought on the battlefield, but in the political arena as well. Now let's delve into the political maneuvers that are happening behind the scenes. They say that in war, the first casualty is truth, and it appears that the same could be said about transparency in the diamond trade. Ukraine has accused Russia of attempting to influence the Kimberley process. Now, for those who may not know, the Kimberley process is an international diamond certification body. Its main purpose? To prevent conflict diamonds from entering the mainstream rough diamond market. Ukraine alleges that Russia is trying to protect its gems from being labeled as such conflict diamonds. Now here's where it gets even more intriguing. Belarus, a close ally of Russia, has put in a bid to be the vice chair in 2023 and chair in 2024 of the Kimberley process. This move, Ukraine claims, is pushed by Russia to protect its interests. If Belarus were to secure these positions, the potential implications could be significant. It could lead to a rift within the organization, paralyzing its function and perhaps even affecting the global diamond trade. And while diamonds may not be the first thing that comes to mind when we think of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, this development underscores the extent to which this conflict reaches. It's not just about territory or military might, it's also about economic interests and international influence. So, as we can see, the battlefield extends far beyond the physical war zone. It reaches into the boardrooms of international organizations and impacts global trade. The maneuvers we see in these political arenas are just as strategic, just as calculated, as those we see on the ground in the war itself. This political maneuvering demonstrates the far-reaching effects of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, affecting not just the two countries involved, but the international community as a whole. The Russia-Ukraine conflict has had a profound impact on the lives of the people in these countries, particularly foreign players contracted to Ukrainian clubs. The world of sports, often seen as a refuge from geopolitical tensions, has also been drawn into the fray. In a significant move, FIFA, the international governing body for football, has stepped in to protect these players and coaches from the fallout of the conflict. FIFA's decision allows foreign players contracted to Ukrainian clubs which have been affected by the war to suspend their contracts until June of 2023. This move is not just about protecting the players and their coaches, it also sends a clear message of disapproval to Russia, a significant player on the international football stage. But the impact of this decision goes beyond the football field. For these players, it provides an opportunity to seek safer environments, to continue their careers without the shadow of war looming over them. They have the option to suspend their contracts and be considered out of contract, essentially making them free agents able to sign with other clubs during this period. Yet, as we shift our gaze beyond the football stadiums, we see a larger, more distressing picture. The conflict has affected countless lives, creating a humanitarian crisis that continues to unfold. Refugees forced to flee their homes due to the war face uncertain futures. Families have been torn apart, children left without schools, and many are struggling to access basic necessities like food and healthcare. The economic and political situations in both countries have been drastically altered. Economies are strained, and political tensions are high. And amidst all this, the people bear the brunt of the conflict, their lives upended, and their futures uncertain. The humanitarian toll of this conflict continues to rise, with even the world of sports not spared from its effects. As we've seen, the Russia-Ukraine conflict has far-reaching implications, affecting not just the military and political spheres, but the lives of the people as well. The battlefield tells a tale of worn-out Russian forces and depleted Ukrainian defenses, both playing their hands in a war that shows no signs of ending this year. In the political arena, we've observed how Russia seeks allies in the International Diamond Certification Body, while China covertly supplies lethal equipment. Each maneuver, each alliance carefully crafted for the protection and advancement of national interests. On the humanitarian front, the effects are most poignant. Footballers in Ukrainian clubs affected by the war are being allowed to suspend their contracts, indicative of the widespread disruption the conflict has caused. But the true cost is borne by the people, the refugees, those whose lives have been upended by the conflict. In conclusion, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, now approaching its second year, continues to cast a long shadow over military, political, and civilian lives. As the world watches, one can only hope for a peaceful resolution to this conflict that has already taken so much.